Hi, fourth grade. It's Miss Bruin in the virtual fourth grade classroom. And I'm here to help alongside of you as you embark on researching the use of hydroelectric power. So today, this video is just meant to support you and get you started, looking at some of the sources together and pushing ourselves to read and ask what are the pros or the benefits and what are the cons. So we're going to be reading a lot of information with that question as a lens. So we're going to be sifting through just looking for the benefits and the costs to water power or hydroelectric power, the force of water that's converted into electricity. And we're going to be taking some notes in a science notebook together. Are you ready? Definitely going to be putting each source to the test, looking at the end of each source, whether it's a .com, a .edu, or a .org, or a .gov, right? But I'm reading with a focus on two big questions. I'm looking for the good things that come out of using hydroelectric power, as well as the bad, right? You can call it the pros and the cons. You can call it the benefits and the costs, whatever you want to call it. There's two big questions I have in my mind every time I read new information. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Are you ready to try it with me? I'm going to read the sources and I'll click on some of the links that were linked in the slideshow for you. But I want you to get your notebooks ready or your slides ready, and your ears and brains ready to read with those same questions in mind. So get your notebook page ready. You can jot down a simple chi chart the way that I have, or if there's a way that you find more useful. I know you've been doing cost benefit analysis for a couple of weeks now. Get your notebook out, get your computer out, and get whatever template you use, whatever page you use in order to keep track of the benefits and the costs of an energy source so that you can type in some of the facts as we read together. Here we go. I'm just going to click on the first resource here and see what we find. Hydropower Explained. So there's a lot of information here, but I'm kind of skimming through. I'm going to use my mouse to focus. It's been used for a long time. It's telling us here that it only accounted for 7%, a little more than 7%. So people don't use it very often to generate electricity. And it was less than half of the renewable electricity. So out of all the renewable sources like solar, wind, water, it was 37%. So, I mean, I guess that's a big chunk of the renewable electricity, but that means that we're not using very much renewable electricity generation. If it was only 7% of the total US electricity generation, and it was 37% of the renewable. So I still haven't found like benefits and costs of using hydropower. Oh, here. So here it says that it relies on the water cycle, which is something that happens all the time. So that feels like it's a benefit. It's not like you have to create something new. It's not like you have to burn something. It's actually relies on rainwater, precipitation, snow, any kind of moisture or water that's coming down from the clouds. That's what precipitation is. So here it says that all the precipitation that collects in streams and rivers is what hydropower relies on. So that feels like it's a benefit. Like that feels like you don't have to produce anything new. However, if we read this section down here, it says that it says seasonal variations in precipitation. So that means like when there's dry seasons, when there isn't much rain, right? And long-term changes in the patterns of rain and snow.
like droughts where you aren't getting a lot of rainwater, you aren't getting any rainwater for long periods of time, that means that there's going to be an effect, and the effect is not going to be positive on hydropower production. So that feels like it might be a cost. The fact that we can't control how much rainwater or precipitation we get. And if there's a drought or a really dry season where we're not getting a lot of rain, we will not have enough electricity. So it feels like, depending on the weather or the climate where you live, this could be a negative, it could be a con, it could be a disadvantage to using this kind of power to source our electricity from. So I'm going to make sure to add the benefits and the costs that I've read about in my own words into my notebook. As you can see here, I added what we found out from that last website. Now it's time to check out another resource. So I just clicked on resource number 3, Renewable Energy World. Oh, this is a .com. So I may skip this one. And I'm looking here, and it actually seems like it has some information about wind energy. Here it talks about hydropower, overhaul of hydropower. But as I'm looking, it seems like the focus here is solar and storage and wind. So storing energy, wind energy, and solar. I don't see a tab for hydropower. So I could click on that window, but I think I'm going to go back and see if there's something that might be more useful for finding out more about hydropower. Ooh, this looks interesting. So this is a student energy website. It's a .org, if I'm looking up at the ending of the website, right? And I don't have much information on this first page here, but maybe I can click on, ooh, look at this, energy system map. So you may have to click around and like look for or hunt for the actual information that is useful for you. So after clicking around a little bit on this website, there's an energy map that has like every possible energy source that we use or that we could possibly use to power our world. I found this part here, and if I click on water or just even like roll my mouse over it, what pops up and connects with water is hydropower and tidal power. So those are like 2 things that we learned a little bit about this week from the video. So I wonder if I click here, ooh, that seems to bring me to this, see this sidebar here? And that seems to have some information. So I am going to click on where it says view topic, and here we are. So it has some interesting information here. I'm scrolling down, and here it talks about how 71% of the Earth's surface is already covered in water. And the energy harnessed from moving water can be used to create electricity. I feel like that sounds like a benefit. That sounds like a positive thing. Like we already have it here, right? But I already have some notes on that. So I'm going to keep reading and see if I get anything new, any new information. Okay, so there's 2 different types of water power, hydropower and tidal power. So hydropower is taken from falling water or running water. That falling water, the movement turns the blades of a turbine. So it flows in to a fan-like device, which is then connected to a generator. So that movement or mechanical energy is then converted into electricity in that generator. So I think this hydropower piece is dependent on how much precipitation we get, right? How much water we have collected and stored. But if you look down here at this paragraph, the tidal power converts There are natural tides in our ocean. Like, you know how when the tide comes in, the waves come up onto the beach and then the tide goes out? That happens naturally. So that has nothing to do with how much rainwater we get. So I feel like tidal power actually might be even better than hydropower because it's there every day. There are tides in our oceans. It has nothing to do with how much rain we get, or it doesn't depend on the water cycle. So it says that the tidal energy uses mechanical energy to create electricity with tidal fences, barrages, and turbines. They must build this stuff underneath the surface of the water. Wave power can be harnessed to capture energy from waves on the surface using, a special buoy or other floating device. So I added to my notebook about that benefit that tidal power uses the movement of the ocean waves. We don't need any rain. And I'm going to leave it up to you to continue looking at resources, remembering to always think, what are the pros or the good things about this new information that I'm getting? And what are the cons? What are the costs? What's the downside of this new information that I'm getting about hydroelectricity or even tidal power? So good luck, and I hope you find some interesting information. Remember, you may have to click around a little bit in order to find what you're looking for. But as you read, make sure to hone in when you find out any information that might be a benefit or that might be a cost. Okay, good luck, researchers. I'll see you next time.